What's up, everybody? It's Cody.
And Heather.
And we were going to throw a little video together here before the actual podcast comes out. It should be out in early 2019, but until then, everything will be on our YouTube channel. It's Ancient Love and a Modern Marriage. And until the podcast comes out on Spotify, iTunes, things like that, you'll be able to see everything on YouTube. So just subscribe to it now. That way you're getting everything as it's coming out. Some of the stuff that we plan to talk about is ancient aliens, DMT, other realms, Trump and the wall, all kinds of stuff. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm ready to get this going.
Well, before we actually just started dropping episodes of podcasts, a lot of people, most people don't even know who the hell we are. So we were just going to give a little background, and there was some important things I thought we needed to get out there before we just started playing podcasts and shit like that. I'm a pretty scientific dude. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I'm more of love, faith.
She's a hippie child for sure, but this year, 2018, really things kind of got different for you, didn't they?
They did. Lots changed.
Different for both of us. We got a lot of different views on things, and there's no shame in having changes. And financially, geography,
yeah.
We changed locations. There's been a lot going on, and in that we discovered a lot of things, and one of the first things that I think really changed for us was I really started seeing the ideologies that we kind of have in the country and in society right now. And one of the big ones I think of is religion, obviously. Both of us believe in a higher power. We believe there is a God, but we don't buy into a lot of the modern religion. The way you can't question it. If you're a human being and since a child you grew up in church, if at some point you didn't stop and say, this sounds crazy, or this does not make sense, then you're not normal, because I feel like everyone.
I had lots of questions, and it would just be too much to comprehend. So it's like you just gotta give it to faith. So it's been exciting to see facts and learn new things.
The first thing we learned is basically everything we thought we knew was wrong. There are a lot of things that they didn't teach us in school, or it's been 15 years since we've been in school. Things have changed drastically. The timeline of humans has been pushed back. They found stuff like the Baghdad battery. We have electricity back in ancient times. And, right there for me, everything has to be opened back up and re-talked about right then.
But that stuff, I feel like you have to go dig for it. You have to know about it. Like, this stuff should be talked about. And
it should be.
A lot more than it is.
That brings up a really, really good point I wanted to talk about, because I'm going to provide links at the end of every podcast. So any of the stuff we talk about, any of the stuff we reference, there'll be a link to it so you can read it yourself. And the Sumerian culture is just fucking crazy.
It is, but it's amazing.
So this thing is 6,000 years old. So 2,500 years ago, they're telling us, stuff about Egypt and things like that, and all of a sudden they're finding stuff that they're saying, well, there might have been civilization 6,000 years ago, but we can't really open it up and look into things because people don't want to be wrong. Mm-hmm. We would have to rewrite all of the history books. I mean, everything down to like the testing we do for schools would be trash. I mean, right. We would have to redo everything. And I'm not saying that, I'm not one of those people that think you need no government, you need no religion, you need no... It's here. We did it. I mean, humans did it to ourselves. Society is the way we have it. Like, we could never get rid of, like, money.
Right.
You could never get rid of, like, an organized church. You just won't get rid of that. And it's not bad. It's bad when you close your mind off and you just think one way, and no matter what facts come about in the future, if you don't change accordingly, it starts seeming crazy.
It does.
And to think you can't question it is the part that I don't like. You know, they tell you if you question it, it's bad. If you don't do what they say, when they say it, how they say it, like, your life could end right now. God could just decide to take it right now because, like, he doesn't like gay people, so if they're gay, he could just take their life, and then he's going to kill them 1,000,000 times because every day you're going to go to hell, and they're going to kill you every day in hell. So it seems like at one time this radical person is just, like, pushing his agendas and his ways, and it sounds like something you would tell children, like, to scare them, you know.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to wonder, like, how can they determine, like, if they're gay or anything, you know, like, but they have a good heart, how are they bad? How do they go to hell? It never made sense. Hell's never made sense.
Well,
so that's something I always questioned, and I'm happy that we have facts and stuff to show us, you know, that this stuff isn't real.
Well, I don't know that there's facts to show it's not real,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's facts to show it is
Well,
real.
it's the same above as below. I know there's not facts. We don't know what there is, but I just think hell is crazy and how they religions try to save.
I find it crazy that there's this magic man or spirit that no one can see, no one can touch, and he doesn't like gay people, and he doesn't like other people that, you know, worship other gods. And I have a problem with that because each of these individual religions is like one small percentage of the earth. And if you just look at it, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so only one of you is going to be right because you're all saying different shit. So just like 25% of earth over this whole time. And then what about the BC days? What about all the souls then? I mean, before Jesus was resurrected, before the Bible was just out there, we had 300,000 years of humankind. What about all them?
Yeah.
I mean, did they have to go to hell? They wouldn't have known. You can't go to hell for something you didn't know.
Right.
It just don't make any sense. And the second form of, like, ideology I think we deal with is the same thing, and it's the government and the war machine. And I think the same way. You can't have society without a governing body, but we've let ours get just a little fucking crazy because you can't question it.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting these men to war, and they don't even know what these people are saying. You know, you're out on a battlefield, and it's a bunch of Iraq and a bunch of, you know, United States soldiers. They can't even understand each other.
Yeah.
And you can't question what you're doing over there. You can't say, like, maybe we shouldn't. None of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to doing that, you'll get in trouble. So it's the same thing. It's like another controlling body of people that have created an ideology that this is what it is, and you can't question it.
Right.
And the human mind is made to question shit. That's what engineers do. That's what scientists do. I mean, our minds, and in every other shape of life, you're told to think big, you know, don't take things for what they are. But these other two things, no. You do that, you're in trouble.
Right.
And I don't like that. But basically, that's a little background into our stance on kind of the two big things, and we don't want that to define any of this. That's kind of why we wanted to say right at the start, you know, you won't hurt our feelings any. Don't watch it. Don't watch the fucking shit.
Yeah,
you know,
you
it's
don't
that
like
simple. I think she's hot, so I wouldn't mind looking at her. I'm just talking shit. So, like, turn the shit off if you don't like it.
But if you do, like it, share it, and subscribe.
If you're one of the trolls or you're one of the people that disagrees and you feel the need to comment and just send
Skeptic.
thing after thing, go for it. It will not bother us. I love to do thought experiments. And this drives people crazy. I don't know why, but next time someone's shitty to you, think about it from their reality. Like, just completely take your conscience out of your body and put it in theirs and like try to figure out what's making them be so shitty. It's a lot of fun because most of the time you'll find out that like they just don't have anything else to do. They're fucking bored. And the way it is these days, when you're fucking bored, you do podcasts and you tell people your fucking opinions and it'll create a shitstorm.
Right.
You know, the stuff with like Trump and the wall right now. Complete shitstorm. Complete fucking chaos shitstorm.
It is.
That I can't believe is even going on. You know, I don't support Trump. I don't dissupport Trump. He's the United States president, and I support the United States because it's my community. Even if I don't agree with all the fucked up stuff that goes on, this is where I'm at. These are my people. This is my community. And like he's out here leading the free world, and it is what it is. You got to back the man. But
It's getting a little crazy.
But if you're going to sit there and say that man is a qualified president, you're fucking crazy. I mean, in my opinion, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Just he doesn't have the skills, I think, that it takes to make a good president. With that said, he could have, you know, a mental illness and be better off than with Hillary. So, I mean, I'm not someone that's bitching, but I think all the support for Trump, I think all the Trump supporters, it's not supporting Trump. It's supporting the idea of change.
Right.
It's supporting
I agree.
the idea of this is fucked up and we want something else.
Right.
You could have ran Ronald fucking McDonald against Hillary and won. I thought the Democrats were fucking insane for running Hillary when they did because there was too much that pointed to collusion and fucked up things where people didn't trust her because people were on board with something else. You know, they wanted change. Trump brought that. Trump is not the corporate guy. And so people backed him. He's the first dude that was popular that said what was on his mind
Yeah.
that ran for president.
Yeah.
That's what happened, huh?
It did. And I went back and forth. I didn't even know, like, what do you even do here? But in the end, I wanted change as well.
I didn't vote for shit.
I didn't vote either time.
I didn't give a fuck.
Like, damn it. Yeah.
And like people will say, "Well, look, you motherfucker, like you're bitching because you did." I wish everybody would not vote.
I
When
know.
they fucking
We
give
should
me
all
Hillary
not vote.
Clinton and Trump, what the fuck is wrong with not? What? At
I
some
know.
point, you have to say, "Fuck that."
I know.
Fuck all
I
that.
thought about it all day, and I was like, I just can't. I can't make this decision. So.
And the fact that we could change so much if we banded together. And what this
Wow.
fucking wall is doing is dividing everyone apart. It's not dividing the Mexican people from the American people. It's dividing the American people in two. People that want a wall and people that don't want a wall. Get real.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
If we're going to
But-
spend even 1.3 billion on a wall, then take that 1.3 billion and let's start fixing some
that's
things
what
that
part
will
of
fix the
shutdown.
problem.
He wants 5.7 billion.
It doesn't
which is
matter what he wants.
Crazy. That's what he's in this whole
It
shutdown
doesn't matter what he
thing.
wants. You could take 1.3 billion and go into Mexico
Right.
and start fixing
I
problems.
agree.
You know, and
Yeah,
that
for sure.
one bad stance that like the media and everybody puts on, would you like one? On their stuff is that like everyone in America and every white person is like racist or part of this thing that is against other cultures, and it's just fucking insane because if you I talked to someone from the Middle East at the airport here not too long ago, and the dude was fucking brilliant. He was a chemical research engineer, and one of the first things he said is like, we fucking hate ISIS. And that's all y'all ever want to talk about. Anytime we meet an American, like they bring up, we fucking hate ISIS. They suck. And it's like, well, that's all our media shows us is like the bad shit. And he's like, yeah, you get 10% of our country just like we get 10% of yours. You know, we have strikes that go on. Drone strikes, missile strikes. They're taking out civilians, and what they're being told by their government is fucking America hates them.
Yeah.
And that's like America just up there blowing shit up. And it's like, man, how do you break that? Because we don't even speak the same language. If you want to dive into like some conspiracies, I don't have anything about this being true, but I've heard this. The Tower of Babel, back in Babylon and whatever the Hanging Gardens was, this whole story, they found these clay tablets that talk about that. And it said that basically humans were just as intelligent as their creators, and these people thought their creators were sky people. Right. They thought they were extraterrestrials. They called it for what it was. That's what they believed in. I wasn't there, so I don't know, and nobody else was either. In fucking 600 BC, if a fucking alien landed and told them stuff, nobody would fucking know, so, like, everybody quit acting like you do.
Yeah.
You know, even the Ancient Aliens show has started to drive me a little fucking crazy, and I used to love it, because it's like, there's mythology, there's lots of different mythologies.
Right.
And that gets dangerous, because I've noticed they push a lot of like their show and their agenda in these later seasons.
Started to.
What's something off Ancient Aliens that blew your mind, that put you in a spot where you thought some of this is bullshit?
I don't know. It's one we were watching the other day. I noticed they were really trying to like push some of their theories.
And I love hearing all the different theories.
I like to hear all the different theories too, but it really is like they're not questioning as much, was this man that learned to do that? You know, it's more extraterrestrial based.
They're starting it out like, oh, aliens had to do this.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up, because humans are smart as fuck. Like, that's insane too, because I've seen this deal on Neanderthals today, actually. And they're talking 100,000 years ago, they thought this might have been developed. They actually found a ball of resin in a cave in Iran, and it had a Neanderthal fingerprint in it. How fucking crazy is that? But the fingerprint was odd, because it's like, how did it get in a rock? Come to find out, it wasn't a rock. They made better super glue than we make now. Neanderthal, people with what they told us had eight brains.
Yeah.
What the fuck? These people were burying goose eggs, hollowing them out, burying them, and then they had like these 4 different barks and different plants with antioxidants that would put a wax in there that would stop the birch bark from catching on fire, so it would just turn into a resin, and then it would drip down into this goose egg.
You didn't tell them about the duck egg that you put in.
Oh yeah, they put it all in a duck egg with an opening, and so it makes like a figure 8 of the 2 eggs. The bottom one is buried just to catch the stuff. They cover it all in mud, and then they bury coals around it to bring it up to 750 degrees. It turns it into resin, drips down in there. Then they would unbury this egg, and they had fucking glue for their arrows, for building.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Neanderthal, 100,000 years ago, and we now know this. And we also know that there were 4 species of humans that intermingled on Earth at the same time. The Denisovans, Homo florentia, the Neanderthal, and like what we know as modern human, all 4 existed in these geological separations. And they were all, like, if you couldn't pinpoint this shit better for like an experiment, that's a lot of what fucks me up, is how perfect shit was.
That's what
the moon and the eclipse. Like, I personally think the fucking moon is fake. And I know how fucking crazy this sounds.
It makes sense when it's explained like it is, though. Like,
but, yeah, look at it like this. So, the Earth gets an eclipse by the moon covering the sun. For that to happen, the moon would have to be exactly 260 miles wide. Not 259, not 261, 260. That's the only way an eclipse happens, and it just happens to be that size. And the even crazier thing is it has to be some shit like 400,000 miles, you know, or
Yeah,
light years
yeah,
or
it's like
whatever
perfect.
from the sun for that to happen, which coincidentally it also is.
And
Then the craters all only go one depth. They went and fucking measured them. You can measure them from pictures. The deepest one is the same depth in like millions of them. They only go so deep. And they want me to believe the moon's been pelted by asteroids for 45 billion years and they only went this deep and it's still there?
Well, they experimented with it too when they dropped, what was it?
The launch ramp from,
Yeah.
when they left the Apollo missions. They set up seismographs near the Sea of Tranquility, and the liftoff vehicle, they deployed it on purpose so it would hit the moon. Well, some fucked up shit happened when it hit the moon. It rang like a bell for 3 hours. They're watching these seismographs going back and forth. It's fucking insane. And Van Braun, like the father of rocket science, is standing there scratching his head going, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So 2 years later when they go back, Van Braun himself is like, let's up the ante. And he puts all these weights and shit on it, drops this massive thing down, and this thing rang like a bell for 3 hours to a point of, I think it said 22 miles out.
Yeah,
You
it
could
was
feel the
pretty big.
vibration. The moon's fucking hollow. And as a design engineer, to me, if I had to use something that would make tides for agriculture, because that's what I believe the moon was placed there for, was to calm the fucking seas. The seas were a brutal fucking thing back then. In the ancient days, the seas would fuck you up. And there's like Hopi legends, there are some Viking legends that talk about the Earth before the moon was there. What the fuck is that about? Like, and they talk about it being towed into our orbit. And so much of me just wants to go, if it took that long to like scribe shit out in clay, would you tell a fucking story, or would you be like, hey, that was fucking important. Let's spend 4 days doing this. I think you would do important shit.
That was too hard for it not to be important.
Another thing that I'm really excited about that we're going to have going on this year is, I don't know what it's going to be called yet. I was thinking like Heather's Heart or something like that. But Heather's been finding some really cool shit, just like reaching out to different companies, doing the research, and there's products out there that are fucking tight that nobody knows about. And we're going to try to get some of that shit out and see if we can't get it out to some people, because that shit looks good. It's functional. I mean, we got cool shit coming. Also, if you're from the Oklahoma City area, especially if you're in the lifestyle, you're probably going to see a lot of guests you know on here. A lot of people that you've probably already heard all the shit they have to spew, but
they're awesome people. So.
Yeah, and some of them have complete different views. I'm sure we will.
I bet there'll be a lot of stuff that people haven't actually heard, though. I'm excited.
Yeah, there is.
That people don't even know about each other, you know.
I'm excited about it too. And like I said, this is a unedited bullshit deal we decided to jump on here and do before the podcast hit. I mean, we've had weeks and months and shit. We could have got ready for this, and of course we didn't. But I just don't want these YouTube videos hitting to these podcasts and like everybody not knowing it's us and what's going on. So that was really the purpose of this, was just to let you guys know there is a podcast coming. We got a lot of friends in the LS. You guys share that shit amongst yourselves.
Yes, definitely.
We're really just trying to reach, our friends, and really I do want to push it out to people with an open mind. I mean, if you're going to come in here with any racist stuff, with any gay bashing stuff, with any bullshit that harms another human, like, we'll get rid of it, because that's the one thing that we equally agree on is take the story of Moses going up to get the 10 Commandments. Like, let's just start there. Let's say we take that for what it is. It basically said that a spaceship came down, took Moses up for 40 days and 40 nights, handed him the 10 Commandments. I may be mixing two stories up there, but either way, he gets the 10 Commandments. Those are the big ones. I agree with them. It's like you can't have a society without being a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
for sure.
you've got to be a good person. And I got news for everyone. Your conscience, your soul, it goes on when your body dies. You know, whether you believe it's heaven, whether you're going to jump out the side of a fucking wormhole, whatever your plan is, wherever your heaven is, wherever your afterlife plan is, you want it to be nice, because it is something that's going to happen, and so you've got to live like a decent person. If you take these 10 commandments to every country and we all just lived by them, everything would be fine.
Right.
It really would. And I think until we actually like break down the racial bullshit and the I'm better than everyone bullshit, we're not going to get anywhere. And what kills me is that it was all implanted in us.
Right.
And it's in our DNA. It's going to fucking take work to get it out. But I think there's members of every race out there that see one group doesn't have to control us all. They can control the laws and they can maintain order, but damn it, like, human beings have free will. You have rights. I mean, you can speak about whatever you want to speak about and should not have like fear of anything. You know, like, I don't live with fear of shit. People come up and talk shit to me all the time, do they not?
Yeah.
People disagree with me constantly, especially like very Baptist church going folk, and I think it's great they live their life pretty pure. I really do. I wish they would just chill the fuck out with trying to make everyone like them and make everything their way. Because the basic way they live is pretty tight.
I
can get on board with like living pure and right.
But it's hypocritical in a way,
It
oftentimes too.
And not being hypocritical is the hardest fucking thing that I'm learning.
Everybody does it all the time.
They do, and like, I want to yell at everyone all the time. And so sometimes I'm just yelling shit, and then afterwards I'm like, yeah, that was a hypocritical fucking statement to make.
Sure.
But we'll wrap this up, and all this goes into detail in the podcast. Like I said, there's links available. I hope everyone enjoys it. I hope you like the paranormal, the extraterrestrial, the hippie, the government, and, you know, feel free to comment. We have Ancient Aliens Twitter, Instagram, Ancient Aliens. Ancient Love and a Modern Marriage, all the accounts, add all them, but for now, subscribe, share this shit so we can get the ball rolling on some of that. And feel free, if you want to come on and bullshit with us, you know, let us know.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that I would really like to, and there's a lot of girls that I really would like to get on here with Heather, because I get a little irritated at the image and the bullshit that goes on, like, with women and all that stuff. Mainly because dudes just lie about it. Like, I just want it to be open and up front. Like, I say fucked up stuff I shouldn't all the time, but it's usually like to people that I'm friends with and I'm very comfortable with. Like, the shit of like the big fat nasty bosses rubbing on girls' necks and saying, "Oh, you're so cute." Yeah, women are done putting up with that shit. Like, dudes like Matt Lauer and just the dudes are fixing to get fucking fired. You know, no questions asked over shit like this. And it's about time, because you should be able to go to work and be a human and enjoy your existence without this fat fuck that can't get laid, you know, abusing his power.
Right.
And I hate the way that women are kind of torn down, because women are fucking amazing. Their compassion, their love, and it takes, you know, all kinds. And I have friends that are great dudes that don't have a woman, you know, and like, there's a woman that's with a guy that's just tearing her fucking down, or like her family tears her down or something, and she feels like she has just no fucking self-worth, and it creates this cycle of like more than one person's life being shitty, because these two people would enjoy each other's companionship. They would enjoy each other's love, but they can't get happy enough to find each other, because he thinks he's fucking ugly and ain't ever going to get laid, and she thinks she's a fucking bitch that nobody likes.
Right.
And humans keep them down like that, and they don't get out there and find each other. And like, that's the shit that we're trying to like spread around at least our community. that we stop.
Yeah, you can build each other up. I mean, when you see something that you like about someone, even if it's like a shirt, sometimes just saying, "Hey, I like your shirt today," could mean a lot. Just being nice, being open, being kind. I don't know. I think it'd make a big difference.
It would. I'll tell you another thing that I guess we're not going to end this and go to a podcast, because I was going to say this too, is one thing that really like changed for us in our relationship. I would say we've been together since we were 15 years old, so we're talking 15 years plus of being, side by side. And things, did get stale at one point, and that kind of inner lifestyle. And for those of you that don't like quite grasp that, okay, if you're older and what you think of as a swinger, like there's those people there, but there's also voyeurs there. There's also exhibitionists there. There's also fetish people there.
Kinds.
I mean, you just go to a party with open-minded people that,
Just like to have fun.
Yeah, just because you're LS doesn't mean like 8 chicks are screwing your husband or your wife's getting gang banged like when you're at work.
You get to decide what you do.
Yeah, it's
a
pretty
fun.
respectful, pretty clean environment.
And it's some of the greatest people I've actually ever met. They are just kind, open-minded, and just so much fun to be around. So
I think our life changed when we met those people,
Absolutely.
And then in 2018, where it got crazy was we kind of had some friends that became really good friends, and through that year was a lot of the discovery and a lot of the openness.
Absolutely.
And a lot of that. And Caleb and Melissa, and the DMT trip that we went on was one of the craziest fucking things, ever, but one of the most beautiful, life-changing, best experiences. I mean, I can't even put it in words. And what really got me was, because I watched first, we watched first. And I realized this is no bullshit fuck around stuff. Like, you're getting to the root of your problems in life. I'm talking buried deep down in shit you might not even told people from a child. And this shit's just going to come out. And it's just these 4 people in the room. And so if I, have been fucking around on My Lady for 3 years and don't nobody know about it, this is probably not the thing for me to do, because everybody's going to be like, holy shit. So for you to have trust in your friends and your partner to say, this is liberating, this is freeing, this is bringing so much intelligence and opening my mind to actually seeing how kind and passionate and true a human can be. And it only came through those 4 people.
Right.
And that situation, that time in my life. And like, I would never trade that for anything.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because it wasn't dangerous. It wasn't nothing like some of the rumors.
Right.
Like, this was a beautiful fucking thing that brought us so close.
It's important to have someone you really trust, though, with something like that. It can be a great healing, a great adventure, great thing, but I think you got to have people you really trust for any of that.
I do too. That's exactly the way I see it. And
it created a great bond that's special. That
it did. It was a crazy experience. I'm ready. I like the Kentucky ayahuasca. I mean, I don't know that that's the one I would want to go to. I want to go to Peru and do a real retreat and everything. I mean, that's way down the line. And hopefully the next time you see us, you'll have like real edited, good sounding stuff. Yeah, it won't be none of this bullshit. So thanks for listening, and be on the lookout for episode 1. If you subscribe, you'll get a notification when it's out. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.